Howdy gamers. Let's talk about the runes for Elise and Jungle. They're pretty standard. His like basic only variation in the Keystone is Electrocute versus Conquer, but most of the variation comes in with the secondary runes that you could run. But most of them are kind of low value, and that's why you don't see a lot of changes in that. So starting off with the Keystone, it's going to be Conquer. Basic attacks and ability that deal damage to enemy champions grant you 2 stacks of Conquer for 6 seconds. The Conquer will give you bonus attack damage, and then that attack damage is based on your level. And with Conquer, once you stack it up 10 times, then you heal for 15% of all damage that you deal. With Lee Sin, the healing is kind of whatever. It is nice, but you don't really have a lot of AoE abilities outside of your ult to really get a lot of healing out of the damage that you deal, unless you are damaging squishier targets, and then that's where it really comes into play, and that's a lot of Lee Sin's value is like finishing off someone and then barely surviving. The bonus attack damage offered from Conquer has to be built up, but Lee Sin does that relatively quickly, and then also once it's built up, you have either the second rotation of your Q or your ult, or even just your auto attacks to benefit from the bonus AD that builds up. Because with Conquer, if you're building up the AD with your full rotation of your abilities, but then you don't have another ability coming up, and it's just your auto attacks, and it is kind of wasted to use it like that, as you're building up the bonus attack damage, but then you can never use it. But in Lee Sin's case, he can use it, and the bonus damage offered is really, really good, as the AD ratio on his ult is really good, and then having more damage on the Q, and then your follow-up autos is also really, really nice. Where you're playing a jungler too, come mid to late game, you start falling behind in levels compared to the solo lanes. So having attack damage from a rune like this kind of supplements one, being behind in levels, and then two, being basically fighting champions with more items than you, because even if you're behind in items, then you're still going to be getting the attack damage from Conquer. So pretty useful rune, and not too many downsides of it. Um, and then the other keystones just don't come close to what Conquer offers Lee Sin, as he just makes so much better use out of the AD offered than he would either the bonus damage from something like press the attack, or um, yeah, basically just that. For the second rune, it's going to be Triumph. Takedowns restore 12% of your missing health, and then grant you additional 20 gold. This just helps you stay alive in fights, as you're spending your HP a lot as your like main resources, Lee Sin, because you do have to go into the enemy champions to hit them, or to damage them, I should say. And then once you're on top of them, it's very likely that you're taking damage from multiple enemy champions, and from that, if you're getting a kill or assist on literally any of them, then it helps you just stay alive, and I, I suppose heal the damage that they dealt to you initially, and then for your second Q or going in again, then you're just at a healthier amount of HP so that you can actually continue to fight, basically. For the third rune, it's going to be Alacrity. When you can run Legend Tenacity, you should look to do so. With Alacrity, it's going to give you bonus attack speed that builds up over time, and then with Legend Tenacity, you obviously get Tenacity, but not every game. You won't need Tenacity every single game for Lee Sin. Whenever you're playing into champions with a lot of CC, that's obviously when you want Tenacity. So think about junglers like Ornn, Elise, Zac, and then supports like Thresh, Nautilus, Leona. Then you could look to run Tenacity, as you have something to. You have the enemy champions have like threats that make the Tenacity worthwhile. But if you don't have to, then the attack speed is really good on Lee Sin too. It'll help you clear your camps faster, than also make it so whenever you're fighting the enemy champions that you can just simply get more auto attacks off, and then it's therefore just more damage, and that's really where you gain a lot of your usefulness on Lee Sin, is through your damage. For the fourth rune, you have good options in Coup de Grace or Last Stand. With Lee Sin, Coup de Grace is completely fine, as you're really looking to either have a lead or be finishing off champions anyways, compared to something like Last Stand. With Coup de Grace, you deal 8% more damage to champions who have less than 40% health, and with Last Stand, you deal 5 to 11% increased damage to champions while you are below 60% HP, and then max gain to 30. But with Lee Sin, it's harder to really gain value out of Last Stand, as you kind of go in and then spend everything while you're at full health, versus going in and then kind of just existing there, losing a lot of your health, and then spending your abilities to then get more damage from them, more percentage damage from them. At least then also, if you're getting fed and you have an item advantage, then you can really just start one-shotting champions, and Coup de Grace helps you do that. Coup de Grace also helps you even if the enemy has a level lead against you, because again, it's kind of like a evening out tool, I suppose, where you get the 8% more damage. That's going to help you at all stages, but when you're like level, let's say 12 to the enemy mid laner like level 15, then the 8% is going to go a lot further in terms of like actually killing that champion. For secondary runes, you have good options in Inspiration with Freeboot's Cosmic Insight. You also have okay options in Sorcery with Nimbus Cloak Water Walking, or Nullifying Orb Water Walking. And then you have pretty bad options in Domination and Resolve with Sudden Impact, Relentless Hunter. And then with Resolve, like, I suppose you could run something like Bone Plating Revitalize. Bone Plating Revitalize would make you effectively tankier, but you really would be losing out on a lot of your snowballing potential. It's like a supplement for bad play, in my opinion. It's not terrible. It does have its utility, and especially in some losing melee matchups, maybe it's okay. But I see something like Freeboot's Cosmic Insight giving you a lot more snowball potential where you don't have to purchase boots. That saves you 300 gold, and then the Cosmic Insight is going to help you have your second rotation of Q and have your ult on a lower cooldown. That's the main purpose of Cosmic Insight. Also helps you clear faster. And then with something like Sorcery, you have the utility in Nimbus Cloak or Nullifying Orb. Nullifying Orb keeping you alive through magic damage, and then Nimbus Cloak giving you more movement speed whenever you use a summoner spell. So that gives you a lot more slipperiness in fights. And then with Water Walking giving you more movement speed through River, and then also giving you bonus attack damage in River. So whenever you're fighting for objectives, you just have more damage. And then you also have more movement speed for approaching for ganks or just fighting in River. So again, like more slipperiness. Bone Plating Revitalize is like you attack the enemy, and then you do have more effective health because of Bone Plating, where it's going to be blocking damage based on your level, and then it's only on a 45-second cooldown, which is effectively nothing for a jungler. And then with Revitalize, heals and shields you cast are 5% stronger and additional 10% stronger on targets below 40% health. So there is some utility in it. I'm not going to deny it, but to outweigh the 300 gold value of boots and then Cosmic Insight, or to outweigh the movement speed offered from Nimbus Cloak and then the AD and movement speed offered from Water Walking, and yeah, I really don't see it. With Domination, Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter also seems like an okay idea, but with Sudden Impact you gain 7 lethality and 6 magic pin, and that would be anytime you use a dash, so anytime you use your flash, Q, or W on Lee Sin, you'd be getting this bonus. And then it is more damage, but like Lee Sin doesn't need that damage to kill targets. He's either overkilling them or not killing them with or without this. And then with Relentless Hunter, having extra movement speed out of combat, like other champions just use this better. Think about like champions like Kiana, like any assassin champion basically. So I think if you're playing into a champion, an enemy jungler that you can attack on a Scuttle Crab, or contest Scuttle Crab a lot, where things are even, and then if you turn that fight into your favor, then the game really becomes in your favor, then I think going Nimbus Cloak and Water Walking is completely fine. If you're playing into like a farming matchup or a scaling matchup, then I think you should look to run Freeboots and Cosmic Insight. So into junglers like Karthus, Shyvana, etc. Because even if you're matching them with a farm, then you're still meeting them mid game at a pretty okay power point. And then if you can contest them, then, or you're meeting them about at the end of early game, I should say. And then if you can contest them, then you can actually win a fight and then turn the game in your favor. For the shards, it's always going to be attack speed, attack damage, then armor. With the attack speed, it's going to help you so much in your clear that it's really just not worth to take the AD over it. And then the AD because you just deal more damage with it, and then the armor because it reduces the damage from jungle camps, and then also helps you tank tower shots, tank minion damage, and any physical damage from the enemy champions. If you're playing into a magic damage jungle matchup, then you can run magic resist for Lee Sin. It's completely fine. You just have to kite the camps a little better, and that's basically it. Because Lee Sin really doesn't get low while jungling unless you're doing it wrong. unless you're not kiting the camps properly. So running the magic resist is completely fine. And whenever you're in a matchup, so against champions like Siobhan Elise, then you should just look to do so. It's really, really strong. For the variation of the keystone for Lee Sin, you could go electrocute if your team comp would primarily be about like one-shotting a target. If that would be your entire purpose on Lee Sin, then electrocute is completely fine, and you could find yourself in team comps in which that's the case. So with electrocute, you put yourself in the domination tree, and then you have electrocute that whenever you hit an enemy champion with 3 separate attacks or abilities, you deal bonus adaptive damage based on your level and bonus attack damage for Lee Sin, and then it's only on a 25-second cooldown. So this is going to help you, like I said, just burst out one target, because electrocute is single target versus conquer, where you build up the AD and then it can be used against any target. Electrocute's like a one-time thing, so if you're spinning it on a tank, it's entirely wasted, but if you're spinning it on a squishier target, it's going to help you just single them out and yeah, just one-shot them. And then if you're running with this page, then you might as well run sudden impact, as a lot of what you're looking to do is hit a Q on someone and then instantly kill them. And then zombie ward is going to be giving you bonus AD every time you clear wards, and you're really going to get value out of zombie ward if you build Umbral Glaive. But if you're looking to get the AD earlier, then you could just run Ghost Boro. That's completely fine too, since Lee Sin wants to be sitting on his warding trinket for most of the game. With Ghost Boro, it's going to just be placing wards every time, or basically everywhere that you ward hop to. So there's not a huge utility in the Ghost Boro spawn. But if you wait till whenever you complete Umbral Glaive, then you could get better value out of Zombie Ward. But Ghost Boro is just going to be more consistent, and it's also going to build up the AD offered a lot earlier. And then for the 4th rune here, you have okay options in Relentless Hunter, Ravenous Hunter, and then Ultimate Hunter is kind of a scam, really, but it is there. So if you're in this tree, I suppose you should go Relentless Hunter, as having more movement speed is going to be more useful, especially if you're just building full AD and then looking to one-shot someone. And if that's your entire purpose, then getting flanks is more important, and then the out-of-combat movement speed is going to be more important from Relentless Hunter. So that's really that. And then for the secondary runes, if you're running this page, you should look to run Coup de Grace and then either Triumph or Alacrity. I suppose Triumph would be your best bet, as if you're trying to assassinate someone, you might have to get like into 5 people, and then if you kill them, then you get an extra reward, having more health to get second rotation of your abilities off or get out of the fight entirely. So I think that's going to outweigh the attack speed offered from Alacrity in most cases. So, and then you really don't want to miss out on the damage from Coup de Grace, even if you're running a build like this, because even if you do overkill a champion early, if they have a, basically like if you overkill a champion early, whether it be the mid lane or ADC, then come mid to late game, their support probably has items to prevent that, or their abilities just do that naturally. So you probably have to get through a lot more effective HP the later the game goes, and then that's where Coup de Grace really comes into play. Coup de Grace will help you in earlier fights, and then later fights, mid game not so much, but you have some scaling in that sense. So that's really it with Lee Sin runes. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I answer literally all of them. If this video helped you, leave a like on the video, helps me. And yeah, twitch.tv/SorryNelson if you're interested in watching me play or talk about League of Legends some more. I like Lee Sin, man. He's too much fun. You really have to like temper your brain when you're playing him, though. Be careful. But damn, dude, whenever you're on a roll with Lee Sin, holy shit, he's the best fucking champion to play, man. You have so much fun. So much fucking fun. Hit the Q. Oh my god. Think about it, man. You ult, they just die. That's crazy.